Hey, 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 how's it going? We are back with the Frost Buddy podcast. I might change the name. I'm probably going to change the name. I'm going to make it a little more personal. If you've been listening, you know we talk a lot about fitness, about entrepreneurship, business, faith, family, whatever it might be, all things in my life that I value, I think is important, and I want to share with other people. So, think I'm going to change the name a little bit. I might start talking to some really cool people, some founders, some athletes even, because I think that's important to me, and I feel like there's just a lot of things that overlap in terms of athletics and business. So I think I'm going to just start talking to cool people and see how that goes. Right. So anyway, that's just a lot about how it's not going to be called the Frostbuddy podcast for very long, but I ask that you please share the show. I don't really pay for anything to promote this or do anything like that. So I just want to do it by word of mouth and just share the show. It's just fun for me, fun to share experiences, stories, just my mindset, my thoughts. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm Brock, your host, also the co-founder of Frost Buddy. If you don't know what that is, we invented the world's first universal can cooler. Pretty much went from 0 to 8 figures in less than a year. While I was actually still in college at Indiana University and pole vaulting there. So my brother Mitch and I created that. He's still an insurance agent back where we're from. And so pretty crazy ride. Still a crazy ride actually, but started this just, if I can help one person, if I can give a little insight or maybe inspire someone or just do anything, to provide value to at least one person out there, it's worth it to me because that's the most fulfilling thing that I can get is to help someone and to, hear that it's helped people. And, I've already heard that. And so that just gives me the motivation to absolutely keep going. So with all that being said, I'm going to get into this one. I actually heard a podcast yesterday. I'm a big podcast fan. I listen to them on my walks, bike rides, while we're lifting. While I'm working, actually, is when I listen to this one. But, it was the podcast by Ed Milet, and something really stuck out to me that I just can't get out of my head, right? And basically, he was talking to this guy, and I'll just take you a little rundown. And the guy basically said, I think he was 33 years old, multimillionaire. And he was like, if you could give it all up, if you could give up all your money, everything you have, and go back 10 years, would you? And like, without a doubt, my answer was yes. Like, not even close. Like, I did not have to think about it. And what it does is it puts into perspective, right? It puts into perspective the work that we're currently doing. And, if you're a high achiever like I am and you're always pushing and you're always trying to build something and, yes, like you're obviously going to be looking at the numbers, looking at the money. So if you're looking at that, it really puts it into perspective of like, man, it really doesn't matter all that much to me. It's the moments that I get, it's the time that I get that matters. Because when I look at it and I'm like, man, what would I give to go back to, like, let's say high school sports? What would I give to go back to that, knowing what I know now and just having the mindset that I have? And more so, just like knowing that it's coming to an end at some point and it's the greatest time ever. Like, it's just something that you will never get to do again. And, whether that be with your teammates or whether it just be, under the Friday night lights for football, there's so many different things that came to mind of going, like, did I appreciate it enough? Did I work hard enough? Did I do this? Did I do that? What would I do differently? And for me, it's not necessarily that I would do anything differently. And I feel like I absolutely worked my butt off and I did what I could do, right? But it was more so, I think, for me, enjoying the moments and living in the moments and just being where my feet are, right? So, rather than looking past that practice to the next game, or rather than looking past that game to the next week, or looking towards the playoffs, or looking towards, the sectional or state, whatever that might be, just enjoying each and every day and living in that moment a little better. And I think we would all go back. We would all do that. And, I looked at the same thing, at IU and track and pole vault, and I was like, I would absolutely go back to do it again, knowing what I know now and having the mindset and I think just embracing it more, right? And like when people ask you to do stuff, absolutely doing it. And like, so it really put it into perspective for me that, the money and the, what we're necessarily working all the time and pushing for isn't always like what we genuinely care about or what's genuinely giving us that fulfillment. So, he made an interesting point when he said, when I'm talking to a customer or when I have a decision to make or when I get offered something, I put myself in my 85-year-old self's shoes, basically. And I say, what would your 85-year-old self do in this situation? What would they, if you didn't do something, would they regret it, right? So let's say, for example, you got a mad customer or, something went wrong and they're pissed off, but, maybe you're in the right actually, and they want some more, like, you're like, oh man, like, we can't because we'll lose money that way. Well, when you're 85 and you look back and you're like, you know what, all I would have wanted to do, like that $10 didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. But that happy customer mattered. That making that person's day better mattered. And that's what you're going to remember. If you genuinely are 85 years old and you think about the fact that you made 10 extra bucks off, like, that's not going to happen. No one in their right mind would ever say that. And so same thing for me with trips, right? Traveling. And so I am I would say you could say that I'm a workaholic sometimes, right? As most entrepreneurs are going to be. Like, it's my life, it's my baby. And so, when I get invited on a trip to Greece, like I did from Mitch, I look at that and I'm like, I feel a little guilt inside. And I feel guilty that I'm like, oh, that's 10 days of like not being able to work constantly and not being able to do what I need to do. Yes, I'm absolutely going to work. And that's the beauty of being kind of an e-com entrepreneur, is that as long as I got my iPad or my MacBook, like, I can pretty much do everything that I need to do. So I'll still work, but I get that guilt, right? I get that sense of guilt because dang it, I'm not going to work. But when I'm 85, am I going to look back and say, man, thank God I took those 10 days to do the exact same shit that I do every other day and then I'm going to do for the next 60 years? Or am I going to say, God dang, thank God that I went on that 10-day trip to Greece with my brother and absolutely enjoyed every moment of it, because that might be something I never get to do again in my entire life. And if I never get to go back to Greece, what's my 85-year-old self going to do? He's going to be like, what the hell were you thinking? Like, the work's going to be there. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. But you know what's not going to be there? Like, this maybe once in a lifetime opportunity, or this trip to go enjoy, to go see the world, to see these cultures, to see how other people are, to see how other people live, and to just get that experience, to be able to always have that in your life, that you did that. Moments over money, always. Moments over money, always. And that's what, I'll tell my girlfriend that all the time. I'm like, hey, because she's the same way, right? She's been raised to not spend, not spend, not spend. But I'm always like, hey, memories over money, moments over money. Because at the end of the day, what are you going to remember? The money that you save for when you die, it's just going back to your family? Like, no, you're not going to remember that. What you're going to remember is that moment or that memory that made you happy, that made you feel something that just making the money or saving the money wouldn't have made you feel at all. It wouldn't. So, I am all for, trust me, I'm all for saving. I'm all for, delayed gratification and satisfaction. But at the same time, you got to enjoy the moments, because when I look at that perspective, which is something that I'd never had before. And I don't know, if you start thinking about it right now, if you look at that, maybe you're like me and you're like, damn, like, that really puts things into perspective. If I can think like that, can you put yourself in that mindset of when you're 85, of when you're 45, right? For me, heck, even when I'm 35, right? Will I care about this extra, whatever that I this extra $10,000 that I made by staying for 10 days, rather than going, no, I'm gonna be like, what were you doing, idiot? Like, what? Like, no, you should have went. You should have had fun because heck, one, that's the beauty is create some sort of business that you can run remote, which is what we've done. And in the world today, you should always be able to do that. And what I can do is I can get up early on that trip. I can get what I need to get done and probably be just more efficient and effective with my time. And you know what? I've built a great team. So I can meet with that team, with those teams, make sure they're doing what they need to do, and boom, we're probably not going to skip a beat. And we're not, because I'm not going to let it. But, I just wanted to bring to light that perspective. I thought it was such an interesting point and an interesting conversation piece, to just go like, yeah, when decisions come, when moments are happening, when you get invited to things or when you have to purchase something or, when you have to make that business decision, put yourself in the future a little bit and say, what am I really going to care about? What am I going to really wish I had done when I'm older? And for me, it hit hard. So I think it's really cool. And, I think that could help someone. It's helped me a lot, honestly. It really has helped me to just relax a little bit and to just take every day as it comes and to be where my feet are, because it's a difficult thing to do in our society. It's a really, really difficult thing to do in life because it's so fast paced. It's so looking at the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because let's just say TikTok, you're looking at the next video, like, and we're looking for the next big thing in business or the next big product. And just take a moment and just relax, right? Just take the day, take the moment, enjoy the podcast that you're making, enjoy the workout that you're doing, enjoy the food that you're making, maybe with your significant other that you're eating. Just like take the moment and just be there, right? Just absolutely be there, because when you're 85, you're going to wish that you'd been there. You're going to wish that you'd done the things that you wanted to do, but maybe you held back on because of some probably bullshit reason. So I know. That's a good Friday one, in my opinion. Is it Friday? Yeah. All my days run together because I do the same thing every day. I win. No. No, I mean, actually, yes, you should just win every freaking day. But they do all run together because I just work from home and I work out and I just keep going. So that's all I got for you. Frost Buddy Podcast, soon to be something else. Send me a name if you got an idea. But share the show. Come on. We're growing. We're loving it. Everyone's loving it. We're sharing it. We're just having fun. So share it, and you're gonna start seeing it on social media too. So check me out on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Brodko Moser. Just check me out. I'm gonna post it on my personal and see what we can do. See what happens. So. And go check out the Frost Buddy TikTok while you're at it. Come on. I mean, I think we're at 330,000 followers. So we're getting there. But the road to 1 million. That's all I got. You guys have a freaking awesome weekend. Go win, go dominate, and just be freaking amazing, right? So that's all.